Hi everyone. In this video, I'm going to talk about my personal opinion on MBTI. First of all, is the MBTI like the horoscope or like one of those quizzes you take online about what kind of spirit animal do you have? In my opinion, no. Otherwise, I wouldn't like it so much. Why? Because you're answering honestly. You should be answering honestly and personally to questions about yourself, not just about Venus and Mars and somebody writing about your future. Nothing against the horoscope. I'm just saying I don't think they should be compared. And many times I hear this thing like, "Oh, it's like reading the horoscope," and not really, but okay. So is it accurate? I'm not Carl Jung, and I'm not Myers-Briggs. I'm not a psychologist. I do have a college degree, and yeah, and I'm still in college actually, in a STEM field, but I'm not a psychologist by any means. So I don't know how accurate this is, and I feel like nobody really does know. What I do know is that um, this test can really show you some of your strengths and weaknesses. It can really pinpoint at your best traits and your negative traits. And this is a good thing because through this, you can learn to better yourself as a person. For example, I am an ENFP, and so keeping a logical line of thought for me is really hard, like in this video, but I'm trying. And I think this is also thanks to the MBTI that made me realize that I'm quite chaotic in my speaking and in my thinking. Uh, on top of that, I'm quite disorganized even in my with my belongings, right? All of this character, I'm quite creative, and like ENFPs are smart in many other ways. I'm an ENFP and I love ENFPs. Don't get me wrong, but um, definitely the MBTI made me realize all the things I could be working on better. And I think that's true for every single personality in the MBTI. This is not just valid for the ENFP. If you are a INTJ, INTP, ISTP, ESTP, whatever it is, you have strength and you have weaknesses. So you should be definitely understanding through the test which ones are your strengths and which ones are your weaknesses, and then work on them. Okay, so this brings me to my second point. How do you test for your personality? Well, you can take an MBTI test online. You just write MBTI test, and 1,000 MBTI tests are going to show up. You can try. The question is really, the question that many people have is, which one is the best test for me? And not to offend anybody, but I don't think it's a matter of testing. I'm sure that there is one test that is more accurate and better, objectively better than other tests. However, I do believe that there are quite a few online tests, like at least more than 5 tests, I would say even more than 5, that are accurate enough for you to take them and be comfortable with the result. The problem that I think a lot of people encounter is that, first of all, they overtest. And second of all, they test when they have too much knowledge on the MBTI. I think the best time to test yourself on your personality is when you know little to nothing on MBTI, because the more you know, the more your knowledge is going to influence the results of your test. In fact, I was always an ENFP, and after I started really researching and digging into this MBTI stuff, that was the time when I ended up testing differently. Like I would test like sometimes INFP, sometimes ENTP, so still similar personalities to ENFP. Like, not all the letters were different, right? But still, I was influencing with my knowledge. I wanted to be more of a thinker, so I would be getting I would know when a question would be about feeling and thinking, like, oh, do you get more upset about people telling you the truth, or being nice to you but fake, or something like that, right? So that's like a thinking, feeling type of question. And since I kind of know a lot about MBTI, I would know what kind of question it would be, and so I would answer more of a thinker response, just because I wanted to be more of a thinker. But that's just not the best way to go about it. So influencing your test result with your knowledge of the MBTI, I think, is the most common problem in the MBTI community nowadays. So if you are new to the MBTI and you are a virgin, or I should say a newbie, that's great, because that means that you're not influenced by, you're not biased. So I think that's the best time for anybody to take an MBTI test, and then just kind of stick with the result. Like, if anybody were to test with no knowledge and were to get a result of an MBTI test while testing in their flow state, meaning while testing in optimal conditions where you're not stressed about anything, where you're not trying to, you're not going through a midlife crisis or trying to change yourself dramatically. You're like in your flow state, you're happy, you're fine with yourself, you're just cruising through life. You don't know anything about MBTI. You test. You take a test, whichever test online, and you score a personality. Most likely that's your personality, honestly. Like, the problem is that the more you know, the more you're unsure of what kind of personality you have. But maybe it's my FI, or maybe it's just me being biased. I don't even know. But I do feel like, even if I wasn't sure about my personality for a while, I do feel like I'm definitely an ENFP. Like, there's no way I'm anything else. So so the second point was multiple testing. I would advise you to take even more than one test, but with little knowledge. And then just whichever test should be okay, as long as you don't know a lot about MBTI. If you do know a lot, well, you're screwed. Just research the cognitive functions. If you get results all over the place, either stick to your first one, or research your cognitive function, or get an MRI scan of your brain, because that's something that people do. So you could do that too. If you go on Personality Hacker, there is actually it's a channel about MBTI, and somewhere there is the researcher from Stanford. I think he's an INTJ. That's what I remember about him. And he was actually researching like the brain of ENFP, so the MRI brain of ENFPs, and other personalities, like how like an MRI from an ENFP brain would differ from a MRI of a, I don't know, INTJ or ENTJ and stuff like that. Pretty cool stuff. So, this brings me to my last point in this video. So, obviously we're 7.9 million people. So not every ENFP is going to be the same. So I think the way you should take this MBTI or personality discover and experience is just for you to grow and to get to know people that have the same interests, and to kind of like understand how other people think, because that's, I think, the beauty of this. I would be so confused by the way other people live their life. Literally, I would be like, what? Like, if they're thinking this way, this means that, they hate me. But really, that's not true, right? Because maybe they're just, I don't know, they're just like a they're just like an ESTP, so they're just being kind of a dick to everybody, and they're just being brutally honest, but they don't hate you, they're just themselves, you know what I mean? And that's actually the beauty of it. So you actually get to really appreciate the diversity of people. And I think that's what you should get from it, you know? Like, I wouldn't stress so much on the testing and which test is better. I would just kind of take it as an informative tool on kind of seeing how you see the world and how your glasses are different from someone else's glasses. And that's the beauty of it, honestly. That's what makes us that's what makes humans special, is the fact that we have different cognitive different abilities to see the world, but yet still all of them very meaningful. So that's all for this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you did enjoy and understood anything I said, which is probably unlikely, you can hit the subscribe button or like or drop a comment or do nothing. And yeah, have a great day. Bye.